What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the Community Corner podcast. I'm Arnav.
And I'm Nikhil, and today we're diving deep into a topic that's a game changer in today's world from both a personal and a professional standpoint. The art of networking in terms of building relationships for your success.
Yep. Networking isn't just about business cards and LinkedIn connections. It's about forging meaningful connections and relationships that can impact your life in countless ways. So in this episode today, we're going to explore the importance of networking for teenagers, and I guess everyone overall, from a professional standpoint, and even share practical tips on how to do it effectively, both in person and online, and just how it helps overall.
Yeah, for sure. So I think, what's important to know is that networking is like a superpower, basically. It can basically help you open doors, right? Even from a professional context and even from a social context. It'll help you find mentors, discover new opportunities, and grow as a person, right? Whether you're looking for more career options, seeking guidance on a particular topic or advice, or simply looking to broaden your horizons, networking is the key to that.
Like, one thing I tell myself is, no matter what, everyone has something to offer, and in some way they can help you. So by networking or just building that meaningful connection, you don't know, maybe 5 years down the line they might help you in one thing and it'll come and cut you up. So, and it literally does no harm. So always try to be nice to everyone, and it's important to maintain those meaningful connections.
Yeah, for sure. And I know I, for one, and I'm sure Arnav can relate to this with a lot of his own experiences. Like, for example, when we went to DECA ICDC, me and Arnav both went there together. We both talked to a couple people, right? They were from, very different parts of the country and even from across the world. I know I talked to one kid from British Columbia in Canada. I talked to a kid in Maine. I talked to a kid in Washington, and I got those people's phone numbers, and I was able to connect with them. And I'd say to this day, I'm friends with 2 to 3 of those people.
Exactly.
And then flash forward to August when I started, my nonprofit Angels Among Us, where we're fundraising for organizations. I was able to reach out to those people for contacts to start their own chapter in that area. And I think that really goes to show how you're able to leverage those contacts in a professional context as well.
Exactly. And even if you don't get something out of it in the future, even while talking to them, you can get meaningful discussions. For example, if I, once again at ICDC, if I was talking to this kid from New Mexico or something, right? And he's a senior and I'm a junior, and he's talking about something for college apps, I can definitely benefit from that for the next, by next year. Or that's a good idea. Maybe I can, use this, or maybe I can use talk about this in my essay or something, right? So, and even if it doesn't help me overall, it's still a very good thing to have a friend, someone to talk to, and there's no harm from it, basically. So it's very good to network, and there's a lot of upside potential.
Also, one of the most valuable pieces of advice that someone gave me from one of my teachers, who I won't say the name of, but she said one time that a lot of times, you don't know who people know, right, until you get to know them. And the reason why that's important is a lot of times we tend to start talking to people, and then just because our interests don't align or our career goals don't align, we just kind of tend to sway away from the conversation. We don't really pay attention that much, right? If I'm someone who wants to go into finance, and at DECA ICDC, I talked to multiple people who wanted to go in the med field, etc. That doesn't just mean that you should slack off during that conversation and not pay attention. You don't know who those people know. They might have connections in the finance world. Maybe their uncle is an entrepreneur at a Fortune 500 company. You never know.
Exactly.
And that's why I think it's really important to just always be kind, always be open, always be attentive to those kind of things.
Exactly. And we're not telling you to pull up in a suit and decked out dress pants every time you talk to someone and be hella professional, but just be mindful of the fact that everyone has something to offer, and it could help you out even professionally, or from a business point, or any point of view in the future.
For sure.
Now that we talked about it, what are some tips for effective networking, Nikhil?
Yeah, no. So I know networking can a lot of times be daunting. I know it was for me, especially when I entered high school as a freshman, especially in a school with 2,000 people in it. But I think a great starting point, I know this is a little bit overdone, is to just be authentic, right? When you meet someone, whether it's in person or online these days, right, you have to be very genuinely interested in them. And one thing I'll say is if you're not genuinely interested in them, at least show them, right? At least show it with your demeanor, put a smile on your face, nod your head whenever they're saying something, and just show them that you're paying attention with those conversations, right? Ask questions, right? Listen actively, and remember their names. Authenticity really builds that trust and is the basis for forming those lasting connections, I feel like.
Another big tip is to always smile. Whether they're saying the worst thing known to mankind, you can alter your smile based on the situation. For example, if they're talking about like how their grandmother died like 2 days ago, you can give like a nice sympathetic smile. If they're like talking about some good joke, even if it wasn't really that funny, like the jokes Nikhil makes, you can still like smile. You can still smile a little bit, give a little grin, because it gives them that sort of comfort, especially when you're trying to get something out of them. It's a very, very like, okay, I don't mean this in like a very like cunning or like taking advantage of people way. I'm just saying like in sort of like something to be attentive of, and smiling won't hurt you at all. It's always something that will help no matter what. It just builds that active engagement and shows that you're actively listening, and just kind of fosters that sort of connection.
Yeah, for sure. And like not even just for yourself, like a lot of times like you don't even know what that other person is going through. Maybe that person's just having a bad day, like they need someone to talk to, and just putting a smile on your face can really help them push through that. And that can, even in the long term benefit you, right? Because that person now knows that you're someone that really cares about them, someone that shows empathy towards that person. Mm-hmm. And that's a really good trait to have, I feel like.
Yeah. I think I want to touch on this real quick. I just want to share like a personal networking experience that I had, and it showcased the power of authenticity, right? So this is like end of last year, kind of. I attended a community event where I didn't really know anyone, right? I was just there for volunteering, get some good volunteer hours, maybe, do a good justice to the community, whatever, right? So, but I attended a community event, I didn't know anyone, and instead of trying to impress people with my achievements or like try to build that trust through what I've done, I started conversations by asking about their interests and their experience. And it not only broke the ice, but also led to genuine connections that I still maintain today, right? People love to talk about themselves. And that's one way to get people to talk and, be more lively and friendly. So I think that's just a really cool experience that I had, and it still helped me to this day.
For sure. I know we talked a lot about networking, especially in person, but I feel like online networking, especially nowadays, is just as important, right? And so, Arnav, how can like teenagers really like navigate this space effectively?
Yeah, so obviously the number one resource everyone knows is LinkedIn, right? And so these platforms like LinkedIn, they're fantastic for showcasing your interests and skills, and even engage in discussions that relate to your passion, and join online communities. Like I know a lot of Facebook moms have like a sort of niche community that align with certain passion. They meet and find other people, and that can help them in many sort of different ways in the future. So it's all about building that digital identity that reflects who you are and what you're passionate about. And don't be afraid to reach out, ask for questions, ask for help, cold call, cold emailing. That way of networking is very prominent, and people love to respond, right? I say 95% of the people love to help out. Like if I get, let's say I'm on LinkedIn and someone messages me asking for advice on a certain course I took in high school, I respond. It takes 2 seconds out of my day and might help someone make someone's day better, right? And so in the same way, vice versa, just go ahead and send it. The worst they can do is ghost you. That's it.
Yeah, for sure. So, I know I had a friend who, again, I won't say the name of, but he had a blog and a YouTube channel where he was essentially teaching people, things about entrepreneurship and things like that. And, one thing I found interesting was that on one of his blogs, he had the option to have users basically comment on them. So you could essentially initiate a discussion through that forum. And so someone, commented on that post saying, hey, I really like your post. And he was like, hey, is there any way I could work with you? Can I write with you for this blog? And that simple exchange, right? That 1 or 2 sentence that he mentioned was able to form a lifetime of like memories, friendship from both a professional and a social standpoint for those 2 people, right? I know my friend told me that person ended up working with him on the blog for the next few years, and they ended up, going to the same college together, and that was a friendship that really lasted a lifetime. He's now in his 20s, 25 now, and so that's something that really has benefited him.
Exactly. And all it took was one message. Mm-hmm. And just to kind of close off the episode today, I want to share something that, if you guys know who Gary Vee is, he's a very prominent YouTuber, entrepreneur, and speaker. And he said, like, even in high school, say hi to everyone, right? You'll never know who will say hi back. Like, and I know that's just like a metaphor, but like obviously you don't go down the hallway saying hi to every single person you see. But that just means always find an opportunity to talk to people. Don't be the person sitting in the corner of the room sulking, or just like being on your phone on TikTok scrolling mindlessly. Go and actively talk to people. You can never know who you might meet, what might happen, what advice you might gain. And just to, in a nutshell, networking isn't about collecting contacts. It's about forging meaningful relationships that can help you achieve your personal and professional goals.
definitely, yeah, quality over quantity always, right? And so with that said, I'd like to thank you guys for joining us on the Community Corner podcast today. We hope this episode has given you valuable insights into the art of networking and how it can benefit you as well as your friends in their journey to success.
Yep. Remember, the corner is where we all gather. Until next time, take care and happy networking. Peace.
Peace.